reporting season has just begun, and banks are unveiling big profits as well as big bonuses. But while huge pay packets may be good for some, they won't do the banking industry's public image any good at all. But do we really hate our banks as much as the media seems to make out? I've hit the streets to find out. What's the best thing about your bank?
That the bank is popular enough that I can always find an ATM that I need.
Do my banking with NatWest, and probably the best thing about NatWest compared to other banks is the fact that they process the check very soon.
That I can talk to them.
Do you think
It's very important to be able to talk to them, yeah.
You'd recommend your bank to someone else, would you?
I would not really recommend my bank because I feel the level of service is not really good.
Most of the people I've spoken to today certainly don't hate their banks, but they still wouldn't recommend them to a friend. And if new research is to be believed, this is a nationwide trend. In fact, over 10 million people say that they can't think of a single reason why they would recommend their bank to someone else. The figures from Triodos Bank show that the main reason for this banking grief is bad customer service, with 38% of those who said they wouldn't recommend their bank citing poor service as the reason. 29% of people went one step further and said they wouldn't refer a friend because their bank didn't treat them as an individual. What do you think about when choosing a bank?
Probably the people there. Are the people accessible, and are they friendly, and do they know what they're talking about, and are they sort of thorough in their knowledge of whatever the bank has to offer?
Put it this way, convenience for one, which is the closest to your area.
The interest rates and also like the overdrawn limit and all that.
Is whether they will provide me with an online service, really important, that they answer my phone calls when I ring them up, that I can access, particularly if I'm going into overdraft, that they don't offer me huge overdraft facilities, I don't want it, and that they're flexible.
According to the stats from Triodos, 1 in 5 people will opt for a bank near to where they work or live at the time of choosing, while 19% will simply choose a bank that has lots of branches. Despite customer service being a main cause of dissatisfaction among the banking public, not many people actually think about it when initially choosing their bank. In fact, only 6% of the people surveyed said that they chose their bank based on its customer service. Are bankers paid too much?
I think they got loads of money because they work in the banking industry.
Do you think it's too much? Do you think they deserve it?
Not for the rates that we get.
I mean, I think they've got to come up with some very good reasons why they should be paid very large bonuses and very large salaries, particularly when it's something like a bank like the Royal Bank of Scotland, who are actually owned by us, the taxpayers.
Bankers' pay and bonuses is certainly a controversial topic. In fact, 37% of the people that said they wouldn't recommend their bank said that the excessive pay structures and huge bonuses were the main reason why. But it's these hefty pay packets that the government is attempting to crack down on using their Project Merlin banking agreement. The agreement includes RBS, HSBC, Lloyds and Barclays, and states that bonuses will be in total lower than last year and solely based on performance. The banks must also disclose the pay of their 5 highest paid executives below board level. But this will exclude top earning traders who do not have managerial responsibility. It's also important to remember that most of the bankers who are receiving these hefty bonuses are traders and managers working in the bank's investment arm, not the staff you'll see when you pop down your local branch. Do banks get an unfairly hard time?
I think at any time it's good to assess what's going on. I mean, the banking industry controls the world.
I think they deserve it because everything's run by money anyway.
They've got a lot of bad PR, but they could do an awful lot more to help themselves. And I think it is about getting people to understand both ends of the banking industry. I do think we spend too much time talking about the top end and actually forget about what you just said, that actually it is about customer relationships. It is about the people who are being paid in your local bank and those sorts of people. But I do think there's too much top slicing going on at the very top.
Most of the people I've spoken to today said that it was right that banks are being scrutinised, but still didn't think the government were doing enough to clip their wings after the disaster that was the credit crunch. The Treasury has increased their levy on bank profits to £2.5 billion this year. This will raise an extra £800 million. And the Project Merlin agreement will see banks make £190 billion of credit available to businesses in 2011, with £76 billion specifically earmarked for smaller businesses. The problem the government has is that if they get too tough on the banks, then they might just pack up and leave, taking their billions of pounds of tax payments and thousands of jobs with them. So while many of us may claim that we hate banks, it's probably more a case of can't live with them, but definitely can't live without them.